Good morning. We'll get started here in a second. All right, now I got everything set up. What's going on, Emmanuel? What is going on? Let's check out this radar. Looks like it's snowing potentially pretty good in Lincoln, Nebraska right now. Yeah, nice snow band heading through Omaha. Kansas City. Oof, is this snow or is this a mix right now? I don't know. I need someone in Kansas City to tell me if this is snow or not, because I think this is tough to tell. Map shows it as snow, but I know it's probably it's snow. Okay, because I know it's, you guys are real close. Let's look at the temperatures there right now. Can't always believe what you see on the screen when it comes to snow. Let's see our temperatures here. Oh yeah, you guys are cold. You guys are more than cold enough here. 22, 23, 21 degrees. You got a little bit of a warm face down here. But right now you're good. There's probably some heavy snow too about to head into Kansas City. Topeka's getting some good stuff. This is some pretty heavy stuff about to go into Kansas City. Yep. That's good. Euro's thinking like less than an inch, but I don't know. Looking at this band here, it may be pretty nice. May get some pretty good snow. Although I think this is going to be your first snow of the season, right, in Kansas City. So the issue you might have is a lot of that stuff melting or it not accumulating as quick because you don't have that kind of frozen surface yet. Sometimes the first snow of the season, it doesn't accumulate as much as it should. One second, guys. What the heck is... Some of the comments I get on my videos really make me scratch my head. What some of the things people say is crazy. All right. You guys want to look at the latest updated snow totals for this storm and then kind of go over everything else? What's going on, Matt? Wait, Matt, I gotta send you a picture of something real quick. Holy crap. Wait. I gotta send you this. You're sick again? Hey, you might get a little bit of snow outside, Mr. Mezzo. Hurry up and get better. An inch from the National Weather Service is what... Oh, that's what the National Weather Service thinks right now, an inch. Look at what I just sent you. I don't... It's so weird. All right, guys. Yeah, latest updates here. Kansas City, actually, the National Weather Service updated to 4 inches. I'm not surprised. This is heavy snow. Yeah, taking a look at the temperatures, this is definitely snow. I should have looked at that first. We're low 20s, so this is definitely snow. Heavy band here. Even some thunder snow maybe up to the north and west of Topeka. But we'll see. I still think 4 inches may be on the high end here. I don't know if we're going to get 4 inches, but you are about to have very heavy snow falling in Kansas City. So possibly. All right, let me do this. Give me 1 second, guys. We're going to go over the latest snow totals. Let's quick get this off and let's just let this run here. I'll actually just go to composite so we can see everything that's going on down there. Okay. All right. Now let me go over this and then I'll get to your guys' questions. I know, Matt. What the heck? So, latest snow totals: Kansas City from the National Weather Service 4 inches, St. Joseph 3.5. They're thinking Salina 3 inches, Topeka 2.5 inches, Lawrence 2.5 inches. Chillicothe, you guys 4 inches. Warrensburg maybe 4 inches. Sedalia maybe 4. I don't know. 2.5 inches. Columbia 2 inches. I'll show you guys the high end too, just with the latest updates here. About 4.5. Quincy potentially out there in Quincy, Missouri, or is that actually Illinois? Quincy, Illinois, and then Jefferson City maybe 1.5 inches. Columbia 2 inches. Kirksville 3.5 inches. Maybe you get a little bit, tiny bit of snow down here. Tiny bit of snow down here towards southern Missouri, but not too much. Maybe a dusting to 1 inch. Davenport maybe another 3 inches. Chicago maybe another 3 inches on top of what you already have. Champaign, Decatur maybe another 3 inches. Springfield 3 inches. St. Louis 2 inches. Terre Haute 2.5. Lafayette 3. Indianapolis 3. Gary to South Bend 3 to 4. This isn't a very aggressive. This isn't as aggressive as the last snowstorm, obviously. Lake effect snow is going to turn back on for western Michigan, so someone in there could get over 9 to 12 inches of snow. Grand Rapids another 3.5 is possible. Kalamazoo 2.5. Fort Wayne 3.5. Cincinnati 3 inches expected for you guys right now. Portsmouth 3, 2, or about it's gonna be tight. 2 to 3 inches maybe. Louisville 2 inches. Cincinnati looking at around 3 inches potentially. Evansville 1.5. Owensboro 1 inch potentially. This is the latest from the National Weather Service. We're gonna go over all this stuff. I just want to show you kind of what the latest expectation from them is. Cleveland, Erie. Maybe another 5 to 7 inches up there. Mansfield, 4.5. Pittsburgh, you're looking like maybe you get 3.5 inches of snow. Athens, 2.5 there in Ohio. Out towards Reading to Allentown, potentially 2 to 3 inches of snow. Actually up a little bit. Philadelphia, interesting. The National Weather Service is saying Philadelphia could get just over a half inch of snow. I don't know, guys. I think you guys are going to get some accumulation out here. You're going to have a little bit, well, okay. National Weather Service. Half inch. Philadelphia to Trenton. Lock it in. I don't know, guys. I think it's going to be tough with all that warm air being pulled in out here from our Gulf Stream, trying to keep that snow to the west of the I-95 corridor. But I'm rooting for you guys. Maybe a half inch. New York City, dusting, maybe. Baltimore down to D.C., it's looking like maybe you get a dusting to a half inch. That's the latest from the National Weather Service. State College, 4 inches. Looking up here towards Scranton, maybe 5 inches. Upstate New York looks to get a wide blanket of 3 to 7 inches across the state. Could have some areas getting a little bit more. Middletown up to Kingston. Maybe you guys get a little bit more, closer to 5 to 8 inches. Overall, New York State looks good, though. Hudson Valley, numbers drop off quickly. Push it up here into Connecticut. Hartford, maybe about 1 inch. Waterbury, maybe about 3 inches. Looks like the coast is going to stay pretty dry. Maybe you get a little bit of a dusting. They want Boston now to stay completely. They're saying Boston, a dusting. I don't know. I think Boston's going to get a little bit of snow that pushes in. As the slow pressure moves up the coast, I think it's going to pull some cold air in behind it, and Boston's going to get accumulation. I actually don't agree with them on this, but hey, maybe. I can see why. I think as the storm moves through, it's going to be rain in the beginning, rain or a wintry mix. So if we don't get that cold air pushing in, we run out of moisture, maybe Boston does just end up with a dusting. I think they're going to actually get a little bit more. Up and down the coast of Maine, potentially 1 to 3 inches, and then just inland, we could be seeing a good amount of snow up here. Look at this. Look at this. For Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine could see a wide swath here of maybe 6 to 9 inches of snow. So that could be pretty good. So that's the latest. High-end totals, I'll just super run through quick. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The National Weather Service expects no snow in Boston, but look at what they're saying is possible on the high end. A foot. So the National Weather Service is saying you could get 0 inches, Boston, or you could get a foot of snow. I actually think you guys are gonna end up with like 4 or 5, well, 3 to 5 inches, but it's tough. It is tough to tell. It's because you need that cold air coming in the back end to transition that moisture over to snow. It's really, really hard to tell if Boston's gonna end up with something or nothing. I'm leaning towards something though, and then along the coast you could end up here with some snow on the high end. On the high end, they think New York City could end up with 1 inch of snow. Philly could end up with 1 inch of snow. Baltimore could end up with 1 inch of snow. Washington, D.C. could end up with a dusting to a half inch. On the high end, guys, don't expect it, but on the high end. Chicago on the high end, maybe 8 inches. Kansas City on the high end, 6 inches. Indianapolis on the high end, maybe you get 6 inches of snow. Look at that. Northern border of Kentucky up here. Cincinnati down to Louisville. Owensboro on the high end, maybe you get a few inches, 3 to 4 inches. Columbus to Dayton, maybe you get around 4 to 5 inches on the high end. It's pretty good. Maybe 2 feet of snow, foot and a half of snow on the high end from Ludington down to Muskegon, Michigan. So Grand Rapids, maybe you get about 8 inches on the high end. So this could be very good if you get the high end totals here. Next 72 hours, expected amount out here, not too bad. Most of this is up in the mountains. Utah really misses out on a lot of this, but high end you could get a lot of snow up into the mountains. Even some snow down into Denver, and down into Denver, all the way down through Colorado Springs, out towards Pueblo, maybe 6 inches on the high end. Then you get some good snow down here in New Mexico as well on the high end there. So that's what's going on with latest expected snow totals. That last thing before we get into questions, I'm going to show you this super fast. We're going to ice and flurries in your neck of the woods land. Yeah, that's tough. Here's the really quick before I get to questions. This is the last thing. Let me just go to the 06C Euro. There's that system moving off to the northeast there. Some nice snow moving down into the mountains, out into the Rockies. We get a lot of moisture down into the southeast and up the coast here. Okay, moving to Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to be negative 10 degrees up here in the upper Midwest, Northern Plains. Chicago's probably going to potentially get down to the negatives. More moisture funneling down into the southeast. We could have a little bit of a severe threat down here. We have to watch that. This is what's really interesting here, guys. You see this? This isn't a clipper. This isn't a storm system. This is just moisture built up along Bear Clinic zone, and this is going to be cold enough for snow. You could get like light snowflakes falling all day out here on Thursday if this happens. That could try to accumulate up and down the eastern seaboard. You see that? It's cold enough. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there on Thursday if you get some snowflakes flying up and down the I-95 corridor there and putting even more snow on top of what we're about to get. Looks like we are going to get some clippers beginning to line up here. We have kind of an atmospheric river setting up in this Pacific Northwest, guys. Take a look at the Pacific Northwest. Look at this river we have setting up of moisture. This is going to link up with our jet stream and try to continue to pump a lot of storm systems into the northern tier states and into New England. Look at that. Look at that. Just constant feed of moisture we're going to have out here into the Pacific Northwest, trying to bring some big clipper systems back down into the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Michigan. You guys could actually see some good snow here more snow over here over the next 6 to 10 days. All right. What's going on, guys? Talk to me. North Carolina snow chances? Not too high. Not too high right now, but let me show you something. Let me show you something. All right? Let me show you something. Here is our 6 to 10 day temperature forecast. Notice how cold we are in the east. Very cold. Warm in the west. Here's our 8 to 14 day temperature forecast. Notice, average to below average out east, still. Here's our 3 to 4 week temperature forecast. Notice, most of the U.S., average to below average. December is going to be very cold, and watch this. Now let's move into precipitation. 6 to 10 day, while we're cold out here, while we're cold up here, we're also seeing a lot of precipitation. Good chances for snow. 8 to 14 day. Average to above average precipitation, average to above average precipitation in these areas where we're cold. That'll give you a good chance for snow. 3 to 4, this is their 3 to 4 week outlook from the Climate Prediction Center has above average precipitation up and down the East Coast with, wait for it, below average temperatures for the Mid-Atlantic and New England. So, again, December, you should have lots of chances for some snow out here, and maybe even through the southeast over the next couple of weeks. We just got to get a nice amplified trough to dig down there and pull that Gulf moisture up. I don't know what I just did. Let's not do that. All right. So, I'm ready to nap. Me too. It's the forecast where you throw a dart at the wall and see what happens. This is going to be very interesting. I'm really interested to see who down here along this southern border gets snow, and which one of you is stuck in a wintry mix. Snow Long Island tomorrow. You know, they even the high end doesn't put snow in the Long Island. It puts a dusting in the Long Island if you get super lucky. So this probably isn't your storm. Next snowfall for Grand Rapids, like today. What do you mean? Like, yeah, like today, late today, maybe. Let's go to the Ohio Valley. Some flakes beginning to move in. Yeah, later today, and that snowfall will probably continue throughout tomorrow, at least tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. Maybe 4 or 5 inches. You could get big snow though. Right now you're projected around 3 inches. I think you'll get more than that just because of your ratio, but we'll see. Awesome enough for forecasting for this weekend storm. Thank you, I appreciate it. I think we ended up doing pretty good. I'm gonna go back and look at all the snow totals. One area I'm very proud of is I did say we would overperform up here, and we got about 5 to 6 inches up here. We were originally projected 3 to 4, so that I live here, so I know that confirmed. So that was a good call. But that's just because, again, we had that snowstorm that was 3 days before this last one just helped to settle or cool the ground. So we knew our ratios were going to be higher up here in Minneapolis. Minneapolis did pretty good, especially southern Minneapolis Metro did really good. Philly, it's going to be tough. National Weather Service does think you guys are going to get a half inch potentially of snow as we go through Tuesday. We'll see. It's going to be tough. Yeah, we got some really cold temperatures. Someone's bringing up the temperatures. Let me show you guys this really quickly. Take a look at our feels like temperatures here moving forward really quickly. Yeah, I mean, this is what's the temperature outside right now? I mean, yeah, our feels like right now in Minneapolis is 5 degrees. We're expected to get it down to a negative 10 degree feels like. This Thursday with a high of -7 with a high of 17. You can see this really cold air moving in from the northwest. There it is. Look at this. Oof. Absolute takeover. I mean, the Europeans thinking, the latest Euro is thinking your feels like temperature in Minneapolis is going to be -26 degrees on Thursday. Could get down to -10 in Chicago, -20 across the state of Iowa. St. Louis here feels like getting down into the single digits. This is very cold air. We're getting below freezing on the feels like, well below freezing on the feels like down in Charlotte, 25 degrees. Atlanta, Georgia's feels like it's getting down to freezing. So yeah, I mean, look at these temperature anomalies, guys. Look at these temperature anomalies. Pretty wild stuff. Look at this. Just pay attention to the east. Cold, 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 cold. One after another, after another, after another. Maybe you get a little warm up there, and then cold air tries to... we've been talking about, oh my God, if this confirms that this was the greatest call ever. We've been talking about this potential warm up. I've been saying, I think, between December 12th and 14th, 12th and 16th. I thought we'd have a big warm up, and then boom, more cold air. So I'm actually rooting for this exact forecast because that would just make me look good. We'll see. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. We'll see. But I do think we're going to have a brief warm-up after all this cold air throughout the first 10 days of December. And then I think we lock back into cold air well before Christmas again. All right. Any snow for Baltimore? If you get lucky, you could probably end up with an inch today or tomorrow. But you need a little bit of luck on your side, or else it's going to be a dusting. Yali, what's going on? Where's Lisa Meadows? I don't know where that is. Central PA. Yeah, the expected totals across Central PA is somewhere between 3 to 5 inches of snow. Northern Kentucky, expected totals. It depends where you are. Northern border. We're talking about from Evansville up through Louisville, maybe 1 to 2 inches. Cincinnati. We could see potentially up to 3 inches. That's the expected amount. You could see more than that. Lawrenceburg, maybe 3 inches. You could see the northern tier. Frankfurt and north, we could see 2 to 3 inches of snow up here in Kentucky. So kind of depends where you are, but swath of 2 to 3 inches up in this region is definitely possible. For Philly, I think if you guys get lucky, you'll get a half inch. I think it's going to be really hard to see more than that. I'm expecting it just a dusting maybe in Philly. So Pittsburgh, you're expected is 3 inches. If you get in some good snow bands, I think you could see over 6 inches of snow. Denver on the 14th, snow chance. No one knows if it's going to snow in Denver 2 weeks from now. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you. Any other winter storms? I promise you no one knows. Not even the greatest meteorologist in the world using the greatest software has no idea what's going to happen in Denver on the 14th. Any other winter storms projected for Wisconsin or just clippers for now? Just some clippers, but we could accumulate another. If we're lucky with the winter storm tracks, we could accumulate another 10 inches up here over the next 7 days, depending on where our clippers kind of track. NTX, Yali, I appreciate you. Grayson, Shane, what's going on? Marissa, what's going on? Anthony. Let's see. Another great storm is in Bergen County. No, you'll get snow again. You'll get snow again. Northeast Ohio totals. Yeah, right now it's looking like a wide swath of 3 to 7 inches is possible up in Northeast Ohio. They really have it between 5 and 6 up here in Northeastern Ohio. High-end totals, of course, though, could be much. You could add another 5 inches to that. 4 to 5 inches for Indianapolis. Right now, they're thinking maybe 2.5 inches. I think you could do better than that. High-end, you could get over 5 inches. Again, you're going to want to hope for some good snow banding. What about Buffalo, New York? Buffalo, New York, yeah, expected around 5 inches. Definitely could get more. Again, the wind direction is going to be better for you. You could end up with the lake effect band over Buffalo for a while. With the southwesterly flow we're going to get as this low pressure moves up the coast. Southwestern Iowa, yeah, looking like maybe we get another 1.5 inches down there with this system. Albany, New York, let's look at your latest projected. Probably pretty good. Yeah, 5.5 to 6 inches, Albany, New York. Not too bad. Not too bad. You guys could push 9+ if you're lucky. Philly, I think if you get a 1/2 inch, you should feel lucky. I still think we're only going to end up with a dusting maybe in Philly. It's going to be tough to get snow there. Indianapolis, yeah, about 2.5 is being projected for you guys right now. Hartford, Connecticut, they're projecting around 1 inch. But this is the area where the high end is so different from the expected. If the cold air does wrap around in enough on the back end and that moisture's still there, suddenly this region that I circled has 6+, 9+ inches of snow instead of 1 or 2. I mean, their expected amount in Boston is 0 inches, and their high end for Boston is 1 foot. That's how confused the National Weather Service is. And I understand because your low is going to be moving up the coast. You're going to have warm air pushing in as the snow is moving through. But then you get cold air that sinks in the back end. And that could actually end up being some heavy back end and snow for Boston. So it's a really, really hard call for Boston. Like I said, I'm leaning towards 3-4 inches into Boston, maybe a little bit more. But we'll see. There's totally a scenario where Boston gets no snow with this system. It's tough. It's going to be a tight line there. Woo! Yeah, Emmanuel, how much snow did you end up with? What's going on in the Finger Lakes region? Wide swath of 5 to 6 inches potentially. Could be a tiny bit less. I think it's going to be pretty good though. Snow ratio is going to be nice. Rockford, Illinois is being projected at around 2.5 inches from this system. Houston, Texas. You guys are going to... Actually, let me look at rainfall really quick. Some nice rainfall for Houston today. But, yeah, really some good rainfall for Houston over the next 100 hours. Let me take a look at something real quick. 1 second, guys. Let me look at outlooks here. Precipitation. Multi-day. Let's look at our next 5 days down there. Houston, some heavy rainfall over the next 5 days. We're looking at maybe somewhere between 2 to 4 inches easily, but you could some people will way exceed that 7+ inches depending on where some of this rain moves through. Your rain can band as well, so Some heavy rainfall expected down there for Houston. Look at the southeast over the next 5 days. And up the coast, some pretty good stuff here. 5 days. Look at the Pacific Northwest over the next 7 days. Most of this, though, is rain, low elevation, high elevation, snow. We do have, let's take a look at our severe threat really quickly. Categorical, general thunderstorm threat down here today. And then you got a little bit of a marginal out here for Apalachicola through Panama City out towards Pensacola and Mobile. A little bit of a tornado threat here, so we could have a little bit of rotation. So make sure you have your weather alerts on if you're in the panhandle of Florida or that southern panhandle there of little southern portion there of Alabama, including down towards Mobile, Gulf Shores, Alabama. An inch? Then it rains through his crunchy. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's what we were worried about, Emmanuel. That southern portion of a snowstorm in December is always super like mixy, sleet. Yep. Topeka, Kansas right now, they're projecting about 2.5 inches. So, South Florida actually thinks looks to miss out on a lot of this rainfall over the next 5 days. Yeah, not much rainfall. Very, very dry in South Florida over the next 5 to 7 days. Pennsylvania, good coat of snow for the whole state except for this one little area where a few people live down here near Philly. That one little area where just a few people live, it's gonna be tough to see snowfall there. But National Weather Service wants to give a 1/2 inch to Philly. It probably looked beautiful falling because you probably had thick snowflakes because of how warm it was. The beautiful snow is always at around 20 or 30 to 36 degrees. You want that. You want small snowflakes. You want very tiny snowflakes. They accumulate the best. You don't want dense snowflakes. Michigan here, we don't need any more snow. Too bad you're getting it. Sorry. It's so cold. I mean, you guys could avoid some up here in the thumb. Central Michigan, you may be able to avoid some. It's so cold here in Denver. Let's see, what's our temperature like in Denver right now? Yeah, around 4, what is that? 14 to, let's see here. Let's zoom in. Denver sitting around 18 degrees. It feels like it's probably much colder than that. Toledo here. What's it looking like for us? 1 second. All right. Let's go to your area. About 2.5. Expect it. According to the National Weather Service, that could be 5 inches if you get lucky. I did enjoy the -1 this morning. Yeah, we could be -10 on Thursday, feels like, Marissa. Columbus is expected about 3.5 inches with this. Guys, I got to get off. I got to get to work. But I'll be posting more updates on this today. I will be maybe live streaming later, quick live stream later. Again, I live stream every single morning. I post video updates every single morning. I have the full video update on my YouTube this morning. Every day. So I took off yesterday, though. But I told you guys I would. Mods, I appreciate you being in here. Appreciate any of the follows, any subs. Appreciate the love, guys, and gifts. Thank you. Not required, but I appreciate it. Appreciate you helping the channel. And everyone have a great start to your week. Big news is snow for the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and Northeast. And absolutely brutal cold that's going to be moving in to the East Coast. As we get into later this week and weekend, we're going to see we could see some negative temperatures dipping down into Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, maybe even northern Missouri. It's going to get cold. It's going to get cold, and that cold's going to push out east. So lots of stuff to talk about. West, you're going to remain warm for a little bit. Hang in there. Hang in there. Eventually, that pattern will flip. All right, guys. I'll talk to you a little bit later. See you.